Welcome to Elevate Your Life with my special guest, Julia Kakopic. I'm hoping I said that right, Julia. and hey, everybody! So great to see you. Thank you for joining me at my new time. I'm going to be here every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. I used to be at 1 a.m. in the afternoon or 1 p.m. in the afternoon, but we're making some shifts and we're going to be showing up every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. for Elevate Your Life. So thank you so much if you're joining me live. We appreciate having you here. Love spending time with you and bringing you some valuable information that's going to help you elevate your life. Today, I have a very special guest with me, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about her. Her and I both believe that you should live the life you love. And so that's why we have the same mindset about what we hope people want to achieve in their life. And why wouldn't you want to live the life that you love, right? And I come from a health perspective, and she comes from a business perspective. So it's going to be an interesting conversation for sure. But before I tell you about her, I just want to say to you all that and remind you that I am the #1 cutting edge weight loss coach because I help people lose weight for life without dieting or deprivation. And I feel like that is the only way to lose weight for life, is to do it without dieting and deprivation. And I'm also the creator of the Life on the Go weight loss plan. And you'll be hearing more about that in the weeks to come. So right now, I just want to tell you a little bit about my beautiful guest, Julie, I'm sorry. Julia. I always want to call her Julia. I don't know why. Maybe it's her hair. You'll see when she comes on. She's been featured by ABC, CBS, Fox, NBC, Vanity Fair, and others. Julie is a leadership evangelist by day, and she helps multi-talented leaders to build resilient organizations and lives that they love while they're still delivering results and changing the world for good. And if you haven't seen her on her TEDx talk, I suggest you Google her when we're done here today and check her out over there. She is a TEDx speaker and actually shared the stage with former President Obama. So I love that. So please help me welcome to the stage, Julie Kakopic. Did I say that right, Kakopic?
Kakopic, like jack-o'-lantern.
All right. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thanks, Paula, for having me. It's fun to help break some of the patterns and beliefs people have, that there's something impossible about having what you want.
Yeah. So tell our audience a little bit more about how you work with leaders.
So I do it in 2 ways. Most of my work is with organizations and helping leaders lead those organizations in a resilient way. So typically nonprofits and service-based businesses. But I also coach those leaders and a number of other women who have come through an annual event I do around women in leadership. And a lot of it is, and I live outside DC, where I think the joke here often is that in LA, people work hard and play hard. And here people work hard and work hard. It's a little bit of a badge of honor. I was talking to somebody yesterday, actually, about, his workplace being a place where it's a badge of pride that you were working on Sunday. You don't get a life you love that way. And I'm pretty sure you only get one life. That's the only, we might get more, but it's the one thing, but I'm sure we get this one. And I am pretty sure that we're not supposed to be miserable.
I would have to agree with that. And I think it's interesting that you bring up the different mindsets in the different areas of the country, because it is really true. I lived in Florida for 8 years, and there's a different mindset in the South. Family is really important. Having time to enjoy your life is really important. And I know that there were a lot of my friends who didn't work on the weekends, and people actually gave them a hard time about that. And it's funny because the people that gave them a hard time were not people from the South. They were people that relocated there, right? From somewhere else. But it's true. I think in certain areas, especially where I am outside of Philadelphia, it is the work-life balance can be very challenging. And I think corporate America has kind of brought us up to believe that, the more you work, the better you should feel about it.
I think it has. I think the pandemic has put a big chink in that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of gone in both directions, right? I think on the one hand, the exit of women from senior roles has been huge, although mostly it's about changing where they are, not leaving the workforce altogether. And I think working from home has been hard because people think they work all day everywhere. This is my office. I work in this room.
Yep.
I'm not in here if I'm not working.
Yeah.
And I have a rule about this laptop. It gets one charge outside this office. When the laptop's dead, it goes back in here, and that's it. And part of that is how I control work is work and life is life. I also think that there's the badge of honor thing, and then particularly for people whose work is about serving others, whose work feels very important and serious. There's the, like, if I'm having fun, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to. I'm hurting somebody. And I wish I knew exactly the moment I figured out that my misery didn't serve anybody and actually made things worse for people. But it is the lesson I try to teach all the time, because if I'm miserable, guess how wonderful I am to the people who work for me? Not. Right. Right. And then I model that terrible behavior and that terrible work-life balance. So then they do it to their team.
Very true.
Right. And so I think, in my world, at least, I think people have this fantasy that they're going to make a to-do list and they're going to finish it.
Oh, the to-do list is never done.
The to-do list is never done, and the job is triage. I coach a number of women who are elected officials. I ran for office 7 years ago. I've run a bunch of campaigns. And in that world, you start your day with 100 things to do. Mm-hmm. Delegate 30. You did 20. You think you did pretty good. You go to bed, you wake up, you got 50 and another 100.
Yeah.
And so by the end of 70 days or 100 days or whatever that cycle is, you have way more things that you never did than what you did. And it's all about making good choices. And it's all about good triage, which is a little bit about the beginning of the TED Talk, which is about getting what you want, even when it's hard. But because that ability to triage is really important. And if you don't know what I mean, it's everything on your to-do list is not of equal value.
No.
Not to you, not to the people you do it for. And it's not equally urgent either. And
right.
That's so I deal with a lot of folks who think everything is urgent. And I kind of have a standing question. It's grown over the years, but basically, is anybody going to die, lose their job, or go to jail?
Oh, I love that.
And if that's not true, you don't have a crisis and you need to stop. And after, if those things are true, we're going to stop our conversation and we're going to go make sure people are safe.
Yes, right. Exactly.
If something on your list has that a part of it, we're going to go fix that. After that, then it's about what actually needs to be done by you, done it all.
Right.
And you'd be surprised how many, and here's the flip side of the coin. We actually get the lives we choose.
Very true.
And that doesn't feel good if you are sitting in a job you hate, with a partner you hate, in a house that's broken, and angry kids, right? That I just said that you chose that. And I don't mean that you chose it today, but if you don't start changing those things, then you chose it.
And you're a little kinder about that than I am, because I say, our lives are a direct result of every choice we've ever made. Are there circumstances that are beyond our control? Yes, but we have the ability to control the decision we make about the circumstances beyond our control. And when I first really embodied that thought process, it was hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, to look at yourself in the mirror when you're in a job you don't love, when your health is failing, when your weight is out of control. And make no mistake about it, weight is directly related to your health, right? And all the studies show it. So
I wonder if it isn't also related to your happiness.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like how many of us, myself right at the top of the list, eat our feelings?
Well, and listen, that's where, it's like we feel overwhelmed by work. We feel stressed out. Those two things are the two largest factors to weight gain. And so the work you're doing is really important because you're trying to help people to understand prioritizing and being able to find that balance where they can have a life that they love. And I'm also teaching people how to have a life that they love by having people realize that your number one priority is yourself. And that goes along with what you teach. Your number one priority is taking care of yourself in a way that you can have the energy you need, you can have the focus you need to get the work done during the hours that you're doing the work, and still have energy and vitality to go live the life you want to live.
So there's two thoughts. I'm going to do the second one first because I don't think I'll forget the first one. If you're going to not work and then complain about not working, stop. Just go work.
Right.
Don't worry. If you ruin your playtime with, but I should be, you're not enjoying your playtime. Neither are the people who are hanging with you. Go work.
Right.
When you put it down, put it down. And if you've answered the question, nobody is going to die, go to jail, or lose their job if you put the work down for a little while. The other piece is that there's a real serious, truthful reason for why they say to put your own mask on first on an airplane.
Yes.
If you're oxygen deprived, you won't put the mask on the person next to you.
Right.
If you don't take care of yourself, you can't do all the other stuff.
Right.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
And we're talking to a lot of people, by the way, because when it comes to adult Americans, 71.3% of the population is either overweight or obese, and there are health issues related to that. And during this pandemic, the average weight gain for 42% of the population, on top of the stat I just quoted, was 29 pounds. So, and there's a whole nother challenge, not only from the work perspective of having a room where you can shut the door, call it your office, and when you leave the office, the work is done, which is a great tip for people. I love that tip. But it's also, okay, now I'm always have access to the fridge all the time, right? I just had a conference call. I'm really stressed out. I'm just going to run downstairs, grab myself, a cup of coffee and a donut, and come back up to my office. Or I'm not going to take time to leave my office and just go for 20 minutes and sit and eat lunch and kind of regroup. I'm going to bring my lunch into my office.
I'm guilty of that one a lot.
Yeah.
In part because I have clients all over the country. And so it's really hard to know I won't meet at noon or 1 or whatever time I would pick.
Yeah.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning for the California folks, right? It's right. Very hard to maintain that midday block.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I would love to tell you that I came to this knowledge, I woke up one morning and I was smart. Not true. I woke up one morning miserable and learned a few things and then, had to do that more than once. And, when you and I were getting ready for today, we were talking about the days we make mistakes and have to learn the things we're talking about over again. That is kind of how it goes. And there are things I don't know how this philosophy works for you. So I'm about to confess, but I can have ice cream if I get in my car and go get it.
Right.
It cannot live in my freezer.
Yep.
Because it won't live very long.
Same.
So I grew
up in a house where we had ice cream all the time. That was dessert every single night. And so the same with me. If I want ice cream, I have to get in my car and go.
But I can have it. There's no rule that I can't have.
Of course.
There's some rules about donuts and cakey things because they don't make me feel good. But I don't have an allergy or don't feel good if I eat ice cream.
Right.
I don't have great self-control over ice cream, so it doesn't get to live here.
Right.
Got it?
Right.
The work thing, at the beginning of the pandemic would work anywhere, sit on my couch, stand in the kitchen, sit at the dining room table, never bed because I don't sleep well. So I'm really good about not working in the bedroom.
Yeah.
But I was working all the time. And, I needed new rituals for being home that I had. Well, the truth is I've actually worked from home for about 20 years. So it wasn't really the beginning of the pandemic, but even at the beginning of the pandemic, I was used to being in meetings.
Right.
So like, where's the time to listen to NPR that you used to do during traffic?
Right.
Right. Where's
the radio and sing along with some songs.
Right. Where's the rocking out where nobody can hear me?
Yeah.
All of that. Because trust me, if I start singing, you will stop. You will turn this off. And so I won't. Where's that time?
Right.
And so, I built rules because I follow them. I don't always, I have been known to, there is a cord for the laptop in the living room. I don't use it very often, but it's there.
Well, I'm really big on
I do better work when I'm working here. And I do better play when I'm not working there.
Yeah. And I like the 80-20 rule, because it applies to just about everything in life. So if you're really on point 80% of the time, I mean, take that hand, pat yourself on the back.
Bless you.
Do it. Pat yourself on the back. That's awesome.
I'm too rebellious for the 100% rule.
Yeah.
I'll screw it up just cause. So, don't tell me I can only do one thing. I mean, so we, when you read the bio, we talked about multi-talented leaders. I like to work with people who have more than one talent and are willing to use them and who have been told their whole life they can only do one thing. Because part of their misery is they actually need to do the other things they're good at.
Right.
And we don't have to do one thing. We have to make some choices about where we focus part of the time, but we don't stop being painters because we're also executives or we're miserable, right? Like we don't only write or we never get to lead people, right? Like we actually have to feed all of us. I'm entirely too rebellious to do anything all the time.
Yeah. And you need to make time blocks in your schedule to do that. I remember years ago, I heard someone talking about relationships and they were saying, you put all your work appointments on your calendar, you put all of your events that you're going to on your calendar. You need to schedule on your calendar time with your spouse, right? That should be just as important as all of the other appointments that you're putting on the calendar. And if you need to do a time block on a Saturday, this is my time with my family, my kids, and I'm going to put my phone away except to take some pictures, then put that on your calendar. I'm a big believer in and a big user of time blocks and color coding. So I can look at my calendar at a glance and say, what are the most important things I have going on today? That's one particular color. Usually green because it's the money-making activities, right?
My calendar is ridiculously on brand. It's because I like the colors, right? Like it's not. Somebody's like, even your calendar is. I was like, yeah, I know, because I like those colors. They're like, yeah, this matches your. I'm like, right, because I picked colors I liked. It isn't, it isn't like,
yeah, it's whatever works for you.
Were yellow and purple, we would never see me wear them.
Yeah,
right? It just wouldn't happen.
It's just whatever works for you, but it's so important that the first thing you do every year is put on your calendar when you're taking off, right? Mm-hmm. Put on your calendar when you're going to spend time. Like I have Sundays blocked off. I do not work on Sundays. Occasionally, if there's an event happening, I'll work on a Sunday, very occasionally. But that's family time. That's time with my husband. That's our day to go to church and go do whatever we feel like doing.
I rarely do scheduled things on Sundays. I will confess that I really work a Sunday evening to Friday noon kind of week.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, since I was a kid, Sunday night is when I did my homework. Sunday night is when I got organized for the week. So Sunday nights I work. And that's the one time I don't work sitting here, right? Because it's curled up watching some stupid on TV, just getting calendars ready,
Yeah.
scanning appointments. But I probably do 3 or 4 hours worth of work on a Sunday. But I tend to try to leave my Fridays open.
I love that.
And I tend to do a lot of my life doesn't belong to me. And some of my clients, you and I were talking about the fact that I have a hard stop because I have a political appointee I have to meet with, and I meet with her when she wants to meet with me. She's in California, and she's meeting me at 9:45 or at 6:45 her time. Her calendar is controlled by the President of the United States. I don't get to control when she's on my calendar very well.
Right.
But I do a lot of switch outs, right? So if I talk to her at 9:00 at night, because that was 6:00 for her, right? If I talk to her at 9:00 at night, something else moves. Yeah. I can do that. I can't always control when somebody wants my attention. And as I think about leaders of organizations, or we were talking about a client I have who has a weekly scheduled appointment that is never held at that time. Part of it is that her time doesn't always belong to her. Okay, how much time does? And right. And so if I'm doing that at 9:00 at night, then I'm not getting up at 6:30 tomorrow morning, at least not for a work thing. Right. There's and what I've done is my compromise, because I used to be one of those people who said, I can't time block, or no one will ever get to meet with me. And what I do for a living is sit in meetings, so time blocking sometimes can be hard, is there's a shadow set of block. There's what shows on my calendar, but I see a shadow set of blocks. And so if somebody schedules in one of those blocks, then I have to move it. Because I'm not very good for anybody if I'm a mess.
Yeah. I have to do the same thing. I think it's just the nature of being a coach, that we are working with clients who are, really successful, and sometimes are either working in corporate America or are, entrepreneurs that have multiple businesses. And so they've got a lot on their plate. And, and so part of what I do with my clients is grab and go eating suggestions, grab and go meals and dinner in 20 minutes or less, because most of them don't want to cook, don't have time to cook. But that doesn't mean that you can't eat in a way that's going to really fuel your body and help you to, have the energy you need to do all the things, and also help you to settle your mind so that you can sleep at night, because that's a big thing for people who are really high energy, A-type personalities, not being able to get the rest that they need. And sometimes it has to do with the technology. It has to do with always having this in our hand, always having this on,
So this does not get charged in my bedroom.
Oh,
period.
That's a great idea. Do you have a separate alarm?
I have a terrible, obnoxious tool that I do not like, named Alexa, who doesn't like my voice, who I have to yell at, but she's $25 and she's the alarm clock, and she can play the music that puts me to sleep, and not much else. She's not very good at much else. Sometimes I try to, it's funny, all my other things are Apple, and so I can ask Siri questions, and Siri can look things up on the web and answer them.
Yes.
Alexa, not so much. Alexa also apparently doesn't do women's voices as well. And this morning my voice is a little bit hoarse, but my grands laugh at me yelling at Alexa because they know that tone.
Oh, that's so funny. Alexa. Scolding the AI.
Scolding the AI. Right.
Listen, if you're going to be artificial intelligence, can you be smart, please?
Oh, I've been known to say, why are you stupid?
I have to.
Right? But that is the alarm clock in my room, right? She wakes me up and she puts on NPR. She has my little morning routine. She tells me the weather. She starts NPR. And for those things, she's great. My mom died this summer, and for the first time, I turned my phone off in 10 years. But it's not charged in my bedroom for years.
I do I don't charge it in my bedroom either, because I get the notifications that come up. So I use a sunrise alarm clock. So it simulates the sun coming up, in the morning, and I have
Cool.
you can pick the different sounds. So I have the sound of the waves, because as you and I were talking about before we came on, I'm a sunshine and water girl. And so and I lived near 2 blocks from the ocean for over 8 years, and I
Wow.
really miss it. So I love waking up to that every day.
It's
And
funny.
I
I go to
don't
sleep
have
to
to
it.
be in the room. I mean, there's no technology in our bedroom.
I go to sleep to it.
To the TV?
No, to Alexa, play ocean sounds.
Oh, yeah.
So I
It's
go
a
to sleep to the
wonderful way to
waves.
go to sleep. Yeah.
Um,
So I think the bottom line is that we both want to emphasize to people that it is possible to create the life that you love.
it is. And if you think we're wrong, call us and challenge us to show you.
Absolutely.
Because the truth of it is, there's a lot you don't control, but you do control you. And once you decide that that's a tool you're willing to use, and you're willing to think about, I mean, I try to do this as play. Let's experiment for this week with fill in the blank, whatever that is. Experiment with deciding that you're actually in charge of your calendar, not the other way around.
Right. And you can actually decide what's a priority and what's not a priority.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you have a team and you're doing their work, they're redundant.
And even some of the work that we delegate to our team is really probably stuff we don't even need to do anyway.
Right? Which we find out when they don't get to it either.
Right. And, you can eat lunch at your desk, because I do too. And then yesterday I went out and took a 20-minute walk just to clear my head, because I needed to shift from doing one thing to another thing. And I needed to have that mental shift. And so sometimes it's great just to take that break when you're shifting from maybe coaching for 4 hours, and now you've got to work on a presentation that you're giving, or you need to work on a speech that you're doing that's up, a keynote or something that's coming up. And it's really great to have that ability to just kind of clear the head. And it's good if you take a walk, because you're physically kind of pushing that out. Okay, I'm done with that now for today. And you're inviting
it's a boundary. It's looking at nature is actually calming. Putting your feet on the actual ground, not the floor.
Yes.
All of those things are really good for you. And I spent too much time on the screen yesterday. I was in meetings for like 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
And there are people that I meet with that like we never do it on a screen. My deputy and I on a big project, we'd use the phone. We can go for a walk. Now she does it because her kids are her office is in her kids' playroom. Yeah. But part of it, and so like at least for that hour, she doesn't have to bug them. But I think making decisions about when you're on screen and not on screen. If I'm teaching, I ask everybody to be on screen, because that's how I know if what I'm teaching is landing.
Right.
And they need to have a relationship. If this is like the 4th meeting this week of the same team.
Yep. Yep. So really, it's all up to you guys. The way you live your life is up to you. The way you nourish your body is up to you. The way that you run your business is up to you. If you're working for someone else, it may not always be up to you, but you can certainly take a look at your priorities and align those in a way where you're putting the things that need to be done and are actually going to create results at the top, and figure out what you need to delegate or what you need to just get rid of, so that you can have the life that you want. And we hear the words balance, have a balanced life. Well, here's the thing about a scale, right? It's always going like this. So it's never like this. It's always like
I'm over that term. I'm so over that term.
Yeah.
I think it's crap.
I'm over the term diet, because they've taken the true meaning of the word diet is a manner in which you eat. And they've turned it into, if you want to lose weight, you have to go on a diet. You're on a diet every day of your life. It's the way you eat your food.
They made it a punishment.
Exactly. And it's been a negative. And so I would love to just eliminate that word out of the vocabulary, but but we're
Because
not
I
going to
think
do
balance is not, I mean, work life sucks. I can make that easy. Let's just make your home life suck too. Then it's balanced. Like,
that.
and which is actually what happens, right? Which is actually what happens.
I love it. So,
Like,
Julie, how can people reach you if they want to reach out to you?
So the easiest way to find me is the iLead Strategies website. It has a little pop-up. You can just send me a note. You can actually get to my calendar.
And is it ileadstrategies.com?
It is.
Okay, perfect.
It is. And you can email me at julie@ileadstrategies.com as well.
So I'm just going to pop that up there so you guys can see that. ileadstrategies.com. If you want to reach out to Julie, find out more about her and what she does, go to her website. She's got her calendar on there. You can get on her calendar and have a conversation about where you are and, you know, where you want to be.
Yep.
And see, I'm sure you'll give them at least one tip that's going to set them in the right direction, right?
Yeah, actually, if you Google my name and TEDx, you should find a video with 5 tips. 5 tips.
Yeah, I watched that this morning.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really great video. So you guys are going to want to do that. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here so early in the morning with me. I really appreciate it.
Not for me, but for my client.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And guys, go ahead and check her out at ileadstrategies.com. So I'm going to let you go and jump over to your call with your client.
Thank you so much, Paula.
You're welcome. And as for the rest of you, if you want to learn more about me, you can go to paulafallon.com. There is a link to my calendar on my website. If you want to learn how to lose weight for life, eating foods that you love so that you can create a life that you love, just go ahead over to my website at paulafallon.com, grab a spot on my calendar. If there's a situation where, you know, nothing seems to work for your schedule, just send me a message, drop me a comment, and I'll get back to you. We'll figure something out. We'll work something out. If you are watching this on replay, will you do me a favor and do #replay? And you can drop whatever comments or questions that you have for myself or Julie. We'll jump on back to this later and check it out and certainly get back to you. And if you've been here with us live today, and I know there are many of you that have been, I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch us live today and to join me every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. live for Elevate Your Life. I appreciate you. I love being here with you and always look forward to your comments and your questions and love having those conversations with you. So thanks so much for joining me. I will see you here tomorrow live. And until then, make it a great day.